Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Mr. Amitabh Nag, CEO of Bhashini, an initiative by Government of India that's making an incredible progress in bringing technology and linguistics diversity together. As the Bhashini conference is happening here in Hyderabad, we are so excited to have you here, sir, with us to share more about the portal, its vision, and how it's making a difference. Welcome to the interview, and thank you so much for joining with us today. Let me start with the first question that's probably everyone will be wondering of. What is Bhashini exactly?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me here. Bhashini is basically stands for Bhasha Interface of India, which is actually looking at translating 22 languages bi-directionally. In this program, what we are trying to do is to tackle 5 basic problems. First problem which we are trying to tackle is that computer should be able to understand what we speak, and that is automatic speech recognition. That should be in 22 languages, and we have created artificial intelligence models which can do that. The second part of the entire exercise is to actually translate if text encoded in one language in the computer to another language, and that too in 22 languages bidirectionally.
Okay.
The third one which we are talking about is that computer should be able to speak out if the language in which it is encoded. That means text to speech conversion. That means computer is now able to speak. So what we are trying to do is that make computer understand what you are saying, translate if required into multiple languages, and then make computer speak out what it is there in the system. So effectively we are making computer talk and listen like a human being. That's what we are trying to do, and that too in multilingual form.
Oh, yeah.
The other part which we are trying to do is to see that whatever are the printed text which are there in the market, which we have printed for so long, those when you scan in the computer, it is coming up as a pixel, which is a picture.
Yeah.
It is not a processed text. So we are converting that to processed text so that we are in a position to use it in the sense of process it and recognize it as a text. So that is called optical character recognition. And then we have lot of names, the digital vocabulary of the country, which is unique to us, and that is also unique to the geography and the language. So we are building that up. We call it as named entity recognition, and those are the 5 problems which we are fundamentally trying to tackle. So how are we going to use this? We are going to use this to obviously transcend the language divide. That means I and you, if we are speaking, writing different languages, we should be in a position to collaborate, innovate, discuss, talk, learn in our own language without having a burden of learning another language. We are not saying that you don't learn another language. We are saying that this should not be a burden. The second thing which we are trying to do is that, which is a offshoot of this, is to increase productivity. If you are speaking and getting things done, it's obviously more productive than writing and getting things done. So, we are saving that time for the person, because now you can speak to the computer and, for example, dictate a letter, which otherwise you would have been typing it out, and obviously that was a productivity lag as such. Then, we have a lot of people who still are to be digitally literate. So if we use voice and in their own language, we are helping them to actually again talk to computer or use the computer without actually knowing the computer. So that's a advantage which they have. And then, since voice is a medium and your own language is again the medium, people living on the other side of literacy divide can also use computers now. And that makes a lot of difference as far as the last mile service delivery, governance, and communication is concerned.
Okay. So what are the services that's provided by the app? So is it available as an app, and how is it?
So there are multiple ways and it's available. The basic service is a application program interface, which is a program to which you can send the data and get it translated. Now that is a very basic service which is there, which is a specialized APIs as we call it. But on top of which, a lot of applications have been developed. So we have a Bhashini app which is there on Google Play Store as well as App Store, which can be downloaded free of cost by the citizens, and they can use that particular app to actually translate into all the 22 languages for text as well as for speech. The second part which is there is that there are a lot of applications which are using it. For example, if there are website translations which can happen by using it. So there the people call this API, send the text to this API, and it is translated.
Yeah.
So that is another way of using it. Third way is that we have a lot of startups which have started building applications using our system, and I think we will see a lot of language-defined applications or voice-first applications which are going to be there.
So before we get to all the technicalities of all the big words related to AI, the people who are listening to this probably might be wondering, how is Bhashni different from the AI assistants like Google Assistant, Siri, or Alexa? So could you please put some light on that?
See, when the mission was started, we had these translation models available in the market, but those were in major 6 or 7 languages. The others were not available because there was no digital data to build the AI models. So what we had done the first time in the world is to create digital data. And we created the digital data by employing 200 about translators who went on the field. They were given a mobile and a picture on the mobile, and they requested people to speak, write, and translate. And that's how we created what is called as parallel corpus. Parallel corpus means namaste and good morning. These are, parallel corpuses. What namaste means in Hindi, good morning or good evening means in English, is what a parallel corpus means. Now, once the parallel corpus is created, the AI model started building up. So the people who had 6 or 7 languages have also started talking 22 and also started talking 100, which is good for the country. So the first thing which Bhashini is trying to do is to make all language inclusive, which is a very important activity.
Exactly.
We are tackling the problem of 22 languages first, and then we will move on to other language because, as you understand, this problem is quite big enough to be taken up. The second part which we are trying to do and which we are standing up to it, that we are asking the people who are servicing this particular language translation as, to deliver 100% accuracy and to own up the translation. It is not that I have done something, you use it. If you like it, you can further use it. If you don't like it, leave it, because anyway I am free of cost. That's not what the motive is. The motive is to say that Bhashini provides 100% plus translation. We all understand that it is easier said than done, but there are steps and concrete planned steps which can be taken to ensure that this happens. And that is what we are wanting to do, and we want industry to follow us on that. Third part of the thing which we are working upon is to have a voice-first interface. The voice-first interface is basically looking at, can I do, use voice as the medium to do everything in my own language, right? And that is a place where we are asking the market to move and, finding the market to move also. The fourth part of the thing which we are looking at is that, for the use cases which are there, website translation or document translation or video translation, these are definitely low-hanging fruits. But the fact of the matter is that if a person is, say, for example, reading a book in Telugu, but for scholarship he has to again go to a portal which is in English, and he has to do the job in English, then I don't think we are actually transcending the language barrier. So our aim is to actually cover the entire life cycle of the person. He is, whatever he does from morning to evening in his life cycle, he should not have a burden of learning another language, but he should be able to do all the jobs which are there in his own language and also communicate with other language so that he is fully understood and innovation happens. So that is the fourth item which we are trying to project. The fifth is that it should remain affordable. It can't be expensive once you are dependent upon it, because people will start getting dependent upon it. So we are making it, making a comprehensive and concrete track path to ensure that it is affordable continuously. So those are the 5 points by which we are actually setting the direction for the industry to move. Okay, so when you're talking about difference, there is no difference. It is a track path or a leadership position which we are taking, and we are asking other people to follow to be successful. And it is not as written on the books. We are actually producing the technologies which will make it happen. And if the market forces do a better job, it's quite most welcome. If they don't do, then we will continue to serve the people of this country.
Okay. So you said that you want to facilitate a lot of common man to use this interface, and what are the measures created by taken by the creators to make sure that it remains user friendly and people can understand it from diverse linguistic background, obviously.
See, as I said, that we are trying to, obviously the app is user friendly and you can always use it. But more important aspect of this is that we are working with, like, government of Telangana, for example. The workshop was intended to work with the state government to ensure that all their services and all their systems have interface of voice as well as Telugu language interface. Now, in that situation, obviously we are also learning from the state that Telugu itself has many different dialects, right? And different. It is spoken in a different way at different places.
Yeah.
So we are working. The idea of workshop is to collaborate with various state governments to actually make this happen. In the sense that we would currently have a version of Telugu model, which is all the 3 models or 4 models which I've talked about. But we work with state government to create dialect-based models. We learned today that there is a Dakkani language which is there, which is a type of, a version of Urdu dialect which is there. And there are other languages. So at the end of the day, we will have to work with local people to, make it more inclusive. But currently what we have done and what the reactions which we are receiving, we have traversed a lot of distance to that. So if, now people are trying to hold our hands to actually take it to the last milestone.
Very wonderful. So do you have any success stories to share from all the services that have done by Phashni?
So we have multiple success stories to share. Currently, our system is a production system. It is at every day approximately 9 million inferences is done on the system. 90 lakh inferences are done on the system, which is very large for a system which has just come into an existence about 6 months back. The second part of the thing which we have done is that we are currently, on a rough estimate, would be making, touching about 25 to 30 crore citizens through our system, who are using it, who are working upon it, and who are taking the thing. So some of the use cases which are basically there is that we have created a platform with the Reserve Bank of Innovation Hub, where the banks, which is a frictionless credit system by which banks are giving credit to the farmers, and it is called Kisan Credit. And in that, what used to happen earlier was that the loan was given on the basis of land records, and the land records had to be translated to the language which bank understand, which is mostly English today, because banking is English. What we had done was that we had interfaced this land records with our system, and the records now get transliterated online by pulling from the databases of the various states. And eventually this means that what used to take about 3 months and 15,000 rupees from the Kisan, and also the hardships, the loan can be now provided in a day's time. So just one efficiency factor actually has taken up this thing. The other use case, which again relates to the farmer, and I am taking, in the interest of time, taking few cases which are actually giving largest impact, because farmer is the largest community, and it is also living on the other side of digital divide as well as literacy divide, and also language divide. So the 11 crore farmers in the country get PM Kisan Samman Nidhi every 4 months. And if there is a problem in the transfer of money, the farmer had to perhaps go to district office or the village office, or which all places we do not know. But if he does not get the money now, we have created a chatbot with working with Ministry of Agriculture. There, if you speak that farmer speaks that I haven't got the money, then he will be authenticated and told that you have not got the money because your Aadhaar card is not there, or your land is not registered, or your Aadhaar card is not linked with your bank account, whatever the challenge is. And there can be actionable thing which is there. So the National Train Inquiry System is integrated with Bhashini. So the railways today is communicating beyond Hindi and English. Today, the e-Gram Swaraj, the Panchayat today works on their own languages. It was earlier working only on English. And 2.7 lakh panchayats spread across the country working only on English to actually maintain their records. You can imagine whether it was a system which was crying for multilinguality for a long time. So these are some of the successes. And as I said, these are not the only successes, because there are multiple people using it for multiple use cases.
Okay. So while researching, I read that this platform will make AI and natural language processing resources available to MSMEs, startups, and other stakeholders. So my question is, how does the deep learning architecture make it unique for Indian languages exactly?
The deep learning architecture or the AI models are fundamentally depending upon how we, use data to train them. The number two is that, are we actually working on the localized problem, or are we trying to come from, a state of affairs where we, the people who know English, who have perhaps read a lot of engineering, are saying that the people on the ground should use it like this, right? So our approach has been to actually go to the last mile, take the problem statement, and then try to build a solution. And our reason for being so much pervasive into everybody's working area is because of the fact that we have been in a position to learn and study the problems of the last mile and then try to solve it. While we are solving it, we have done a lot of innovations. And the innovations do not necessarily mean that it is AI innovations. It has innovations on the voice technology, innovations in the way the APIs are built, the way the streaming is done. All of that is an innovation which is there. But most important aspect of it is, because we are giving value to the customers are willing to share data with us, which will be the oil for this particular setup. And hence, we are consistently and continuously showing improvement in all the translations which we are doing. And that is I will give all the credits to my customers.
Okay. So how do you envision the portal contributing to India's goal of becoming a global AI leader?
Whatever we do is on an open source domain. So we have all the 340 plus models which we have created are, open sourced. The data sets which we have built are open sourced, and it is being used by people. We are organizing consistently hackathons and GICs, going to various colleges and systems to ensure that we are, giving the opportunity to the young budding engineers to work on the system and improve upon their skills as well as experiment. So we are contributing in our own way, and Bhashini was one of the first AI systems which has democratized AI. No other system actually open sourced so many AI models. No other system actually open sourced the data sets so well.
Yeah.
So, it is one of the first systems which has actually ensured that AI starts getting democratized.
So that's great. So do you have anything to say to the listeners who are listening right now about Bhashini and about the usage of Bhashini?
I would rather, encourage them to use the Bhashini app and other products and, give us the feedback so that they become part of our co-creation activity. We also have a property called Bhashadan where, people can invest on giving the data sets or creating the data sets and help in building the data sets to create the AI models.
Okay. So this is my question. This is one thing I came up when I was going through the Bhashini website. So if you could change one thing about Indian linguistic tech ecosystem today, so what would it be?
See, we have over a period of time not created computational linguists, okay, who understand language as well as who understand tech.
Yeah.
The tech goes in one direction and the language goes in another direction. The computational linguistic is a subject which perhaps needs to get introduced in our system. This is also very critical for the large language model paradigm in which we are living, because people who are linguists should understand computers and should be in a position to understand the capabilities and limitations of it so that they are able to create right products. So that's one part which definitely should be changed or should be introduced.
Yeah. So that's all from my part. Thank you so much for taking your precious time out
Thank
and
you.
talking with us in Akashvani.
Thank you.